Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Codeman Movies. As you can see, things look a little bit different here. I got a new coffee table and it has this expandable thing. So I kind of am going to try like the desk kind of look for this. So I kind of have a desk here where I can put my alcoholic beverage and any notes that I have and such like that right here in front of me. A little less playing around with iPads and stuff like that, and you can still see stuff, so, maybe go down a little bit like that. But yeah, we're going to try this out. If you don't like it, well, then just let me know, and we'll figure something else out. Still got other things I'd like to do, but right now, money talks, and I just don't have enough money right now to go big on this, and yeah. So yeah, like, share, subscribe, all that stuff, and maybe someday I'll make money off this crap. I don't know. We'll see. Anyways, guys, this is a Fast and Furious filled episode today. In the last 2 weeks, I've watched all 11 Fast and Furious movies because, yes, I count Hobbs and Shaw. So I'm going to talk about every single one of these movies. Fast and Furious 1 through 9, including Hobbs and Shaw. I'm going to talk some spoilers about it. And then Fast 10, I will not talk spoilers. And maybe a little later on down the road, I can do spoiler talk for Fast and Furious 10. Not that there's really that much to spoil, in my opinion, especially since the trailers just spoiled everything, like these Fast and Furious trailers seem to do within the last few Fast and Furious for some reasons. So yeah, guys, grab your alcoholic beverage. A blueberry margarita for me today. I think I had this the last episode of Codeman Movies, but I'm enjoying it. It's a summer drink. I don't know. I also went to the dentist today, so I'm a little numb. If I'm talking weird or anything like that, I apologize. I'm numb. It is what it is. So, guys, let's just get started right away with Fast and Furious, the original one from, 2001, I believe? I remember being a kid and going to daycare, and this movie was on. And it was a movie that I specifically remember our babysitter telling me and my siblings not to talk about at home because mom and dad probably would get upset because my parents were so flippin' sheltered for us. And, this movie has so many naughty things about it. And you just can't watch it because it's so inappropriate. So, yeah, people are making out passionately. Who cares? Yeah, people swear a couple times. Yeah, there's guns. Who cares? Get over it, mom and dad. That's really my earliest memory of it. And I remember liking it as a kid. And rewatching this probably I've probably seen this movie at least 50 times, if not close to 100 times. I still really enjoy this movie. Now, has this movie aged the greatest? No, not necessarily. There's some really bad CGI when it comes to the whole NOS effect and kind of stuff. But I think, like, the racing scene between Dom and Brian and the group, it still pretty much holds up. This movie had a fairly small budget. I think it was like $38 million, $40 million. And, I mean, with that, they had to go practical on a lot of things, and they had to go small budget on a lot of things. And it shows. You can tell everything's kind of being done. And that's really what I like about this original Fast and Furious. It feels like a big-budgeted movie without being big budget. It's a relatively small budgeted movie, especially in today's standards. In 2001, it was probably a little bit of a higher budget, mid-budget movie. In today's standards, this is like independent film. $30 million is nothing for a movie nowadays. So I really like that aspect of it. The story of Brian undercover for Vin Diesel's, seeing if they're the bad guys. We all know that they are the guys stealing these DVD players and stuff like that from the trucks. It's not a surprise twist like it wants it to be, but it works well enough. I really enjoy this movie. I know there's a lot of people out there who personally don't love this movie. I enjoy this one quite a bit. Is it anything amazing? No, but for what it sets out to do, I think it does it well enough. I think some of the acting is fine. I've never thought Jordana Brewster has done well in any of these movies, personally. I don't think she's that great of an actress. I don't think she's that strong of an actress. Vin Diesel, Michelle Rodriguez, I mean, all these people really are just playing a version of themselves, essentially, just in this movie. They're criminals. So, yeah, I mean, the characters themselves are fine. but it's the cool, practical action scenes that we get in this movie that really are kind of awesome about this movie, and the real reason why I really enjoy this movie. And just kind of this world they set up in LA. These criminals, and with the race wars, and just all that kind of stuff. Just the car. I don't even want to say the car enthusiast kind of crowd. The racing crowd. Anyways, I just kind of like what they set up with this movie, essentially. And really, they're not even setting up anything. I don't think there was ever, like... Yeah, it kind of ends on a point where there could be a sequel, but I don't think there was necessarily any, like, we're going to make this a franchise where there's going to be 10 movies in it. I don't think that was ever a thought. So it's really cool that this happens. I really do love the ending, too, where they do have this race, and Brian gives Dom the keys, and Brian, goes to accept what he has to accept. So yeah, I don't feel like there's a whole heck of a lot to talk about this one. It is not 2 hours and 20 minutes like the newest Fast and Furious. It's just an hour, hour 45 minutes maybe? Nothing too long. Brian is undercover seeing if these are the guys, and he becomes one of the guys, essentially. And that's really the movie. I enjoy this one quite a bit. Again, nothing amazing, but it's an enjoyable movie, especially looking back at it through my childhood eyes. When I first saw this movie, I would have been, I don't know, how old was I, 7, 8? I would have been a lot, I've been younger. I would have thought this movie was amazing, and I did think it was amazing. And looking at it now, it's not amazing, but it's good. I enjoy this movie quite a bit. I'll give this one, I'll go 6 out of 10 on this one. I have no notes really today, guys. I'm just kind of going off this. I've seen this movie so many times because I am a fan of the franchise that I don't need notes. So yeah, 6 out of 10 for this one, guys. Next up, guys, Too Fast, Too Furious. This is a Fast and Furious movie I do not like. This is a Fast and Furious movie I've only seen maybe 5 to 10 times. I find this movie just awful. Awful, awful, awful. Director was Eric, what was his name? Singleton? I can never remember his name. The guy who died last year. Unfortunately, this movie's not good, in my opinion. Like, right from the opening, the writing is horrendous, in my opinion. Just terrible, and the character work is not as strong for me, at all. The pacing of this movie as well is just kind of there. I don't think it flows very well. This is one of those movies where I'd rather be on my phone playing Tetris or something. Like, it just doesn't engage me as much as I think it should, especially with it being a Fast and Furious movie. I also think, as far as, like, the car stuff kind of goes, you have that race at the beginning, which has a lot of visual effects, a lot of practical still, but not at all what the first one had. And then there's the really cool sequence with all the cars, the hundreds of cars out there. And then there's the really cool stunt at the end, driving into the yacht. There's some cool stuff here. At the end of the day, though, I just don't care about anything that's going on. The bad guy in this movie, so forgettable. And there's sequences that are cool. The rat bucket thing, that's cool, even though it's awful. But this movie just doesn't work on a whole for me. And most of it just has to do with the writing. The story is just terrible, in my opinion. And yeah, it's just, like... And the premise is kind of interesting enough. The idea that Eva Mendes's character... Is that her name? I think so. Yeah, Eva Mendes, right on the poster, Cody. Yeah, the fact that she's already, like, undercover, and Brian's going undercover now, too, essentially. It's an interesting story, and I just don't think it does it justice. I just think it's kind of boring and flat and bland. Excuse me. I definitely think there's cool moments in this movie. Like I said, there's some cool sequences. But at the end of the day, I just find this movie boring. The characters are a lot less interesting than in the first one. Brian is obviously the best. Roman is a character that I enjoy in this one. I don't love him as a character, though, in these movies. He's just kind of whiny and annoying, in my opinion. And he's not my favorite. And Eva Mendes' character, she's really just there to be there. She doesn't, for having such a strong story sense and the fact that she's already undercover, she's really not used to the strongest ability that she should be used. And yeah, the rest of this movie is just kind of forgettable for me. I watched this movie less than 10 days ago, and I don't remember a lot of stuff that happened. That goes to show you something. Yeah, guys, I don't like this one at all. I'm going to give this one like a... I go 3 out of 10 on this one. I don't like this one. I really don't. I know some people really do like this one. I don't. It's terrible. My personal opinion, this is a terrible, terrible movie. Just not good. Not good. Not good. Next up, guys, Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, which is technically not the third one, but it's the third one for me because we'll talk about this later. Anyways, guys, this one has completely different characters. Sean is a guy who is in high school, but he's actually like 30 years old, and he looks like he's 30 years old. Immediately, I don't like that. The cool chase at the beginning is cool, where they're going through construction and stuff like that. That's really awesome. I do like that. And then it goes to Tokyo, which things get somewhat interesting. Basically, every one of these people are annoying except for Han. Han's the only character that I really like in this movie. I don't like Sean as a character even. I don't remember who the actor is playing him, but he's terrible. I think his acting is absolutely horrendous. And then there's like this weird Asian mob. Well, not Asian, Japanese. I mean, it is Asian, but Japanese mob that are bad guys, and the DK guy, they're all high schoolers, but he's, yeah. What I like about this one, I will say this, you can see the practical come back to this, and it looks a lot better. Justin Lin, this was the first one he directed, and you see the style of it, and you see where this franchise could go, for sure. End of the day, for me, what bugs me the most about this movie is just the fact that our main character is supposed to be in high school, and he's clearly not. It just takes me right out of the movie. And then it's just... the story's just there. The story's just silly to me. I don't know. And it's a story we've kind of seen before. There's a guy that's really good, and he's the other guy that's our hero. He's not so good, but he's going to practice and get better, and then he's become the guy. I've seen it a million times. I don't know. And this one also feels very dated to me. I just... certain things about this movie are just so dated. And it doesn't fully work with me on that aspect as well. I just don't think this one's held up the greatest. But this one's not at all bad, in my opinion. This one is fine. I enjoy this movie enough. Excuse me. And I just like that we start to see where the franchise could go after this one. I don't think this is a bad movie. It's just okay. I don't know. The practicality of the stunts, it's just an okay movie. It's not one I want to rewatch all the time. But I remember, again, watching it probably as a teenager when I wasn't supposed to, but I still did. Yeah, I'm going to go 5 out of 10 with this one. It's fine. I don't hate this movie. I know a lot of people love this. Like, Christopher Nolan says, like, this movie has inspired him in his movies and such like that. I don't see that, I guess. Maybe in the practicality of the stunts, but other than that, this is just kind of a forgettable movie for me. It's fine. Next up, Fast and Furious. This is one that I actually really like. I know there's a lot of people out here that don't like this movie. I believe Chris Morgan, who wrote most of these movies, turned this in like a week before the writer's strike in like 2007, 2008. Which is why the script is a bit choppy, and I will definitely say that about the script. It's not the greatest. The story has its moments. Dom's weird investigative vision thing that he does, I don't know. But overall, I do like this one. The idea that Letty is killed, and Dom comes back to LA to avenge that death. It's a vengeance story. Gal Gadot is introduced in this one, and she's kind of a love interest to Dom. There's no chemistry there, so I'm so glad that was something that was just kind of sidelined later on. It just does not work. I like seeing Dom back with the FBI and his kind of struggle to be undercover again, kind of with Dom, essentially, kind of, even though Dom's doing his own thing, but he's still undercover, essentially, and picking his side. We really see Brian's character, changing up his lane, essentially, no pun intended there, and deciding where he stands. And I like that aspect of it. What else can I say about this one? Han is in this movie. I like him in the small parts that he is here. What else can I say about this one? Again, there is some good practical stuff in here, but at the same time, there's also some really bad, dated CGI stuff in here as well. The tank going over at the beginning, the cave sequence, the tunnel sequences. I like that idea quite a bit. The problem is you can see CGI. It's very apparent. And I do like the idea, though, of feeling like that claustrophobia and the idea that if you turn too much to the left, you're crashing the wall and you're dead. Turn to the right, crash the wall, you're dead. I do like that aspect of it. So, I mean, this movie is not great by any means, but I still enjoy this one quite a bit. I just think it's kind of fun. I like the idea of Brian doing his one thing, Dom doing his thing, and they kind of work together to get to their both separate things. I do enjoy that. Like I said, not a masterpiece by any stretch of the imagination, but I still thoroughly enjoy this one. And I like that we're really starting to get more of the family kind of thing with it. Just seeing Dom back in LA with his sister and Brian coming back into the fold. I do like that. It starts setting up where the other movies are going to start going. So yeah, I really enjoyed this one quite a bit, guys. There definitely some dated special effects, silly things that happen. The script is nothing spectacular, but overall, I can have fun with this one. I can have a drink with this one and just have fun with it. I'm going to give this one a 6 out of 10, same as I did the first Fast and Furious. I really enjoyed this one, and honestly, we'll talk later, but I really enjoy this one. I get the hate on this one, but for me, it doesn't bug me the things that fully bug me. You know what I mean? The things that bug me in this movie, I kind of can ignore, whereas, like Too Fast and Furious, I just can't ignore those things. They're just so terrible. That's me. All right, moving on, guys. Fast 5. I remember this movie coming out in 2011. And once again, I wanted to go see it so bad that my parents would not let me. Which at that time, I was, 15? 16? Really, Mom and Dad, I can't go see Fast 5 as I'm 15, 16? No, I would have been older. I would have been 17. This movie came out in 2011. A year before I graduated. 16, 17. Still couldn't go see it. That's my sheltered life for you. Anyways, guys, Fast 5. This movie is incredible. This is just an incredible movie where they open the movie with that bus chase. And with that bus chase, that could be a very CGI thing. It's very practical. This one is the first one that really got that big budget, essentially. And I love how they made this a heist film. They got everybody from all the other movies together, brought them back in, and made this heist film. And I love it. I enjoy this movie so much. I love how we see essentially every step of it. Them starting to plan it out, bringing the group together, first of all, and then really planning it out. And then we see every step of the way. I just love it. The Rock being brought in as Hobbs. they call him the Rock Viagra, movie Viagra. Yeah, he kind of is for this movie. This movie is just, I love his presence the minute he steps on screen. Get the F out of my way. Stay the F out of my way, I think that's what it says. Anyways, I love this movie so much. And there's a reason why Fast X, we'll talk about that a little later, but Fast X talks about this movie a lot. And I find that very interesting. And it's because this one was so good. This movie was just so phenomenal. And I loved it so much. And I still love it to this day. The family is really brought together in this one. And just the heist is so good. And how they filmed that safe scene practically, with it essentially being a truck with a safe built around it. And then they really are driving this thing essentially around. It looks great. Yeah, it's completely impossible, but it looks real. And that's what's really cool. And even the train sequence at the beginning, it looks real. Yeah, there's some special effects there. For the most part, they're doing a lot of this practically, and it looks real. And that's awesome. That's what makes it fun. This is just one of those movies you can have so much fun with, but at the same time, it still is great as well because it's just this cool heist scene. It does feel a little bit like one of the Ocean's movies, essentially. And I love that about this movie. It's just, it does have, this movie is like the perfect mix of the drama of putting on a heist with the action with the heist and everything involved and getting ready for this heist with the action with that. And this movie's great, guys. I love this movie so much. I love this movie so much. I remember in sophomore, was it junior year high school? Probably junior year. Yeah, junior year high school is when the trailer came out for this. And I watched this movie so many different times at school whenever the teacher would allow me. Thank you, Mrs. Post. Yeah, I love this movie. The score in this movie is great. Again, just all the rooftop sequence where they're running through the rooftop, that's great. There's so many great action sequences in this movie, guys, and the heist itself is great. The whole safe at the end, this movie's just great, guys. I love this movie so much. I don't know what else to say about this one. It is just shot so well. The direction is great in this one. This is really where the movie franchise just hit its stride and just figured out what it should be. And I just love that about this movie. I really do. This movie is, while not being simple, it is simple. It's a heist movie, and but it puts it in a Fast and Furious franchise, and it just works so well. I love this movie so much, guys. Yeah, I'm gonna give this movie a 9 out of 10. I think the only thing that really bugs me would just be there are certain moments where it's a little too cheesy. The dialogue is a little much, and some of the acting in those scenes. Again, I said before, I don't love Jordana Brewster in these movies, and I don't think some of the things she says necessarily work. Like, she's trying to be really dramatic. Like, guys, they're coming. You have to hurry up. And it's just like, acting not so good there. So yeah, for me, that just breaks down to a 9. This is just a really good, enjoyable movie, though. The acting doesn't have to be amazing. It just has to be, good enough for what the movie is. And this movie does that. It is such a good, fun, amazing movie. It played in theaters this last week, and I wish I would have went and saw it in theaters, but I just didn't get the chance. I think I worked that day, and I really wish I could have seen it. I would have loved to have seen this movie in IMAX as well. We'll talk a little bit more about that later on, too. But yeah, guys, 9 out of 10 for Fast 5. I really love this movie. Fast and Furious 6. Believe it or not, guys, this is the first movie in the franchise I saw in the theater. I saw this with somebody else who was a Fast and Furious fan. I don't remember who it was. And they loved it. I remember coming out of the theater going, it's good. It was a step down from Fast 5. Still really good, but a step down from Fast 5 for me. This one, the big issue I have with this one is this is the one where things really start getting really crazy for me. Fast 5's crazy, but this one starts getting really crazy. Just starting with the fact that Letty is alive and has amnesia, like, okay, I guess I can go along with that. And then the team just turns into spies, I guess. And they're doing spy espionage. I get what they're trying to do. They're trying to do again. The last movie was a heist with Fast and Furious. This one's like a spy movie with Fast and Furious, and it just doesn't work as well for me as Fast 5 did. This one also introduces the idea that we can jump off cars and land on other cars, and it's just a soft little landing there. All cars are soft now. I don't love that, especially with the CGI look of it. The scene where Dom flies off his car and catches Letty and lands on the other car, it just looks bad when he's flying through the air. It does not look good for me. I never thought it did. Never bought it. Never bought that for a second. It is what it is. This movie does have some really great action sequences, though. I'm not going to talk like I hate this movie, because I don't. I really do enjoy this one quite a bit. Like a lot. Really great action sequences, guys. There's that sequence where Shaw is driving that weird car and is smashing through everything. I actually saw that car at Universal Studios back in 2013. Yes, the movie came out in 2013. It was the end of 2013 that I saw that car. And that car is so cool in real life. It was awesome. I believe I also saw that blue car, and then Dom's Charger, I think, was at Universal Studios as well. And it was really cool. I think I have the picture of it somewhere. But yeah, love that. I love the team's back together again. Again, that whole family thing is really introduced here. Yeah, just some really great action sequences. Again, Justin Lin does a great job. He really knows what this franchise should be. And I think it works. For the most part, it really does work. I love that song at the beginning, kind of recapping the last movie. It's weird that this movie was recapping all the other movies, though. I don't understand why this one's recapping it and why the other ones aren't. I kind of feel like it's a kind of like an homage to Mission Impossible, where they're kind of like spoiling the movie before the movie even starts. I feel like that's kind of what it is, except that we have a cool rap song. I don't know. This is also the movie, I feel like, where we got a good soundtrack with the Fast and Furious movies, and we'll talk again more about that. But this movie has a decent soundtrack that I really enjoy. I love This Moment. We own it. We own it. That's what it's called. I enjoy that. And again, there's a lot of fun with this one. The longest plane runway thing is cool, but yeah, that's the longest. That's like a 30-mile. What is it? I think they said it was like a 40 or 50-mile actually runway. In real life, that's what it would have to have been, and that's insane. And again, the practicality of a lot of this. Even that scene at the end where Dom's flying his car out the plane with the fiery thing, they took a car and shot a thing out of it, and I mean, it was practical. Yeah, the CGI flames is not, and then Dom just somehow surviving the flames. Again, this one went a little far for me, and we'll talk a little more about that though too. This one just went a little far for me, and I don't know. After watching Fast 5 and going into this one, I think that bugged me a little bit more. Because in Fast 5, they're doing ridiculous things, but they're not walking out of fire. Like, sup, I'm still alive, bitches. So I don't know. This one bugged me a little bit more. And how unrealistic it was bugged me. Fight sequences are really great. This movie has probably two of the best fight sequences in the entire franchise, with Han and Roman getting their butts kicked, and then the Michelle Rodriguez, Letty, and I forget the other, Gina Carano. Is that her name? I think so. Their fight is fantastic as well. And, so there's a lot of great stuff here. Gina Carano, though, is not a good actress. And she's terrible in this movie, and she's in too much of this movie for me to forgive it. So yeah, I don't love her character either. I don't love her acting anyway. And I gotta say, though, I did not see that twist coming of where she's actually working for Shaw. Did not see that. Yeah, guys, for the most part, I really do enjoy this one. It's just a little bit of a step down from Fast 5 for me. It just started going a little too crazy at times, and then, I don't know, and just some of the, again, it started looking a little CGI at points with a lot of things, and I like the practicality of all this. I don't know. I don't know what it is about this one necessarily that I still really like it. I just don't love it like I want to. Yeah. But I'm going to give this one, guys, I'm going to go 7 on this one. I really do like it. It is really good. I've rewatched it many different times. Oh, that's the other thing. The story thing where Brian has to go back to L.A., to go into the prison to find out Letty's backstory. Couldn't we have figured that out a different way? That entire thing where he has to go back to LA just seems like a waste of time to me. Take that all out. The movie's too long with that. That's the other thing that really bugs me. I was trying to figure out why I gave it a 7. But 7 is what I give it. It's a solid movie. I really enjoy it. Just don't love it as much as Fast 5. Fast and Furious 7, guys. So let's start with the big thing here. Paul Walker died before this movie was finished. He filmed, I believe, like half his scenes. I know Jordana Brewster didn't even actually act with him at all in this movie. They used deleted scenes and then Paul's brothers with the CGI face. So the movie right there, it just was dealt bad cards. James Wan was the director for this one. And he did what he could, and I think he did a great job. I think out of all the Fast and Furious movies, this is probably like the most stylized. There's a lot of cool shots with this one, like spinning shots and just camera angles and the blocking in this movie. A lot different than the other Fast and Furious movies. And I think that's why I really, really like this movie. This is a movie I saw 5 times in theaters, 6 times in theaters. It came out like 4 days before my birthday. And I just kept kind of going back for my birthday present for myself. I really enjoy this one quite a bit. The plot, again, is a little crazy. And this movie really starts going over the top. Again, a lot of it is done practically. There is still a lot of CGI. That house blowing up looks eh. The Dubai sequence with the car going through, very CGI. Hi, Chester. Chester's looking over his stuff. He just hears noises. Chester's doing good. His butt is healed. If I didn't talk about that in the last video, but he's doing good. He's a good boy. It's Chester. Chester's a good boy. Yeah, we'll go for a stroll in a little bit. But yeah, I think there's definitely a lot of CGI sequences. Again, though, they do a great job of doing as much as they can practically with this, and I enjoy that. Again, really silly stuff. The fact that Rock falls out of a skyscraper, lands on a car, and he's fine. He just breaks his arm. Ridiculous. But I think, what's his name? Shaw guy. Who plays Owen Shaw in the Fast and Furious?
Here's what I found from Screencraft.
No, not Owen. What's his name? Jason Statham. Jason Statham as the villain, Shaw, in this movie is fantastic. I love him. Yeah, he kind of does just show up. Do they need this God's Eye? God's Eye, that really doesn't need to be in the movie that much. It's brought on a little too much. Again, they kind of go for that spy kind of thing again. It almost doesn't need to be in the movie. And the little side villains that are looking for God's Eye, essentially, don't need to be in the movie. I don't know why I like this one more than 6, but I love this one more than 6, even though it's more ridiculous. It's more bloated and convoluted, and there is much more drama, and there is some terrible, terrible dialogue in this movie, too. The whole moment where Brian and Dom are in the plane, and he's like, "You're going to be a good father, Brian. You're a good man to my sister Mia and my nephew my nephew Jack. Like, who talks like that? There's some weird things said in here. The script's nothing great. I just have more fun with this one. I think it's because it does travel around so much. It is in LA, is in Abu Dhabi. The mountain sequence, I love that mountain sequence with the parachuting. And again, they did a way to do this practically. They actually threw cars out of planes, made it look practical. I don't know. I guess, I don't know. I love this one so much. I think that the send-off to Paul Walker's character, Brian, is fantastic. I remember bawling my eyes out in the theater watching this, and I still kind of bawl my eyes out when I'm watching this movie. I don't know. I like this one a lot. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what it is about this movie that I love it so much. I think part of it is just the fact that Paul Walker died, and I don't know. It just feels like a good send-off for Paul Walker. I think that's definitely part of it. The connecting of Fast 3 and Fast 7 to this, I hate that. I absolutely cannot stand that. The phones in Fast 3, they are not the phones that are used in Fast 7. The iPod that is in Fast 3 is not the iPods that are used in Fast 7. I mean, does anybody really have an iPod anymore? It's just our phones now at this point. There's stuff like that just bug me. And I hate that they did that. Just forget F3 even happened and Han's alive. Who cares? Instead, they said that this one came after all the others, and I hate that. I can't stand that. Yeah, I do not like that they did that. And when I watch these movies, I will always watch 3 after 2 and not 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 3, 7. I will never, ever do that. I hate that. Yeah, I can't stand that. It's just... so yeah. Yeah. And then today, guys, I don't know what it is about this one. I have a soft spot for this one. It is probably because of Paul Walker's death. But I also just think this one is so stylistically cool. I think James Wan did such a great job. I remember going to see this movie hoping that there was going to be kind of like a horror element to it. And, I realized years later that there doesn't need to be like a horror element to it. But James Wan still brought his creative stuff, his camera work to this movie. And it's just great. I think this one is the most stylistic, and it looks awesome. And I love this movie. Not quite as good as Fast 5, but up there for me. I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10. I really, really enjoy this movie quite a bit. Fast 8. Now we're going to get talking about bad movies again. Because, guys, I do not like this movie. I remember seeing this at the drive-in back in 2017. And first off, let's start with the trailers for this. Because I feel like this is the movie where the trailers gave away literally every plot point. And I remember seeing the trailers for this, and I was just like, I just saw the entire movie. I don't need to see this movie anymore. And I was right. Dom going bad. It's an interesting idea that the family is fighting Dom, but it doesn't work. I hate the title Fate of the Furious. It just does not work for me. The reason that Dom goes bad, because Elena has a baby with Dom. Now, let's talk about this baby thing for a second here. So in Fast 6, we'll say, right? Fast 6. Dom impregnates Elena, because that's the last time he should have slept with her, right? Right? Because then Letty comes along, and then he'd be sleeping with Letty, right? Okay, so at Fast 6 is when he sleeps with Elena. At the beginning of 6, Brian has child 1, Jack, right? He has Jack, right? Okay, so Jack is a baby in this one, okay? In Fast 7, Jack, Brian's baby, is like 4 or 5 at this point, right? 4 or 5, because he's in preschool, kindergarten, something. Because at the beginning of Furious 7, Brian is bringing his kid to school. Okay, so let's say he's 4. He's in 4K. He's 4 years old. That means in this one, Elena had to have had the baby at this point. She had to have had this baby. It's been 4 years. She had to have had a baby by this point. And in Fate of the Furious, somehow, there's a little baby. That means Dom cheated on Letty with Elena in the events, probably of Furious 7, to have had this baby. Because this baby's like a month old, 2 months old. Like, Elena literally says, I was going to tell you, and I was going to let you give you the opportunity to name this child. This makes no sense. This makes no sense. This baby should at least be like 3 years old. If Brian's kid is 4 years old, about a year for that baby to get born. This kid's 2-3 years old. And it's a baby. How the hell does that work? So that right there, the plot, throw it right out the window. The story of this, just throw it out the window. And half of this movie is the fact that Dom is going dark. Vin Diesel talked about at this time how he's going to get an Oscar nomination for his dark work. No, you're not, Vin. The dramatic stuff in this movie is terrible. And for me, that's really where this franchise started going downhill. The dynamic between Brian and Dom is gone, and Brian is just the main character. Dom's the main character now. And Vin Diesel let it go to his head. He thinks that he is... The stuff we come to see these movies for is this dramatic stuff, which I think some people do. Some people really care about this dramatic character stuff. I don't care. I do not care about Dom having a child, which doesn't even make sense. That right there just pissed me off. I do not think the action sequences in this are as good. While still a lot of practical stuff there's a lot more CGI in this. This submarine, this entire poster is just a CGI mess. And it lost me. This movie lost me. The characters I'm more annoyed with in this one. I don't see chemistry with anybody really at this point. It just feels... It feels like they're there just doing stuff. This movie feels like an Adam Sandler movie where they just are going to places on vacation and getting paid for it. Except Adam Sandler movies, like they're having fun. They're not having fun on these movies, it doesn't seem like, for some reason. This movie is just tonally eh. I hate that Jason Statham is now just a good guy. Like, no, he killed Han. He killed a member of your family. And he's done some terrible things. He's just part of the group now? No. I don't buy that for a second. Not even a millisecond. I hate that plot point. I do not like it at all. I cannot stand it. Roman, for me, in this one, really just started getting annoying. He's kind of been in a character that I've always found annoying, but for me in this one, he just gets more and more annoying and whiny and a little bratty, and I can't stand him. I just cannot stand him in this movie. And the whole Rock and Vin Diesel feud, you're both rich people getting paid to have fun. Obviously, there's more to it than that, but still, like... Ugh, come on. And I do hear Vin Diesel's a little bit of a diva, so I'm more Team Rock on this than Team Vin. And yeah, my biggest problem with this, though, is that Vin Diesel is trying to put the franchise in his arms, thinking that he can hold on to it, and he can't. There are still some good action sequences in this movie, though. There is still some moments that I do enjoy, but this one is much more forgettable for me. It is much more of an okay movie. I've seen this movie now 3 times, the drive-in, before Fast 9 came out. I've seen it 4 times. Before Hobbs and Shaw came out. Before Fast 9 came out, and now before Fast 10. 4 times I've seen it. And I just have no desire to go back and watch it. Until, of course, Fast 11 comes out. Then I'm going to have to watch it again. I'm going to hate myself for it. But, yeah. I have a review for all these 8 movies already on my channel. I'm curious to see what I gave those ratings. But this one for me, I don't know. I'm going to go 4 out of 10 for this one. I don't enjoy this really at all. And I just forget a lot with this movie. I just don't care. I don't care about this one. And all I remember is that every time I think about this movie, it just pisses me off. Because, like, there is no way Dom has a baby that is 4 years old. That is a baby. There's just no way. It doesn't work. So right there for me, I'm just like, nope, I'm good. All reality, when you break the rules in your own franchise, it just doesn't work. Next up, guys, Hobbs and Shaw movie came out in 2019. A spin-off movie that I really enjoy. David Leitch, who did John Wick movies, did this one. And I love the action sequences of this movie. And that's the biggest thing I can say about this. The action sequences in this movie are so flippin' good. I love The Rock and Jason Statham's chemistry. Vanessa Kirby in this movie is great. Just Elba is such a great villain. He's one of my favorite villains in the entire franchise. In fact, he's probably like my top 1 or 2 favorite villains of the franchise. He is so good in this movie. I love that he is a black Superman, and they do have this cybernetic villain, and I love that. Thing I really cannot stand about this movie, though, the entire bit in Hawaii. Take that out. Like, if you had this movie end with that, like, warehouse thing, with that car chase, and they're spinning, blah, 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 you could have ended the movie there. Have that end, well, not even have that, we'll talk about that in Fight, but have that just be the ending of the movie, and it would have been a much better movie, but instead we have to go to Hawaii and do all this other stuff. And yeah, that's my biggest issue with this movie. It's just that ending sequence in Hawaii just does not need to be there. It feels like it should have been in a sequel, is what it feels like. And yeah, that did not work, but the chemistry and just everything, the bits that happen, the action sequences, I love that sequence where they're in the mirrored, or the glass, like, hallway things, and The Rock's character, Hobbs, has just the one guy. Shaw has, like, 10 guys, and he has to beat them up in the whole, throwing the correct eyeball on the scanner. I love that bit. I don't know, I think this one is so much fun. Again, some cheesy moments, some really Kevin Hart cameo. Don't love it, and then it just kind of leads into that Hawaii sequence, so I feel like just leave that for a sequel kind of thing. The Ryan Reynolds one, though, I do kind of appreciate. I do like Ryan Reynolds' bits in this movie. I think it works. I think the direction in this is fantastic, and again, I just love the villain. I love the cool things they do with Idris Elba's character. Soundtracks. I haven't been talking about soundtracks. I did talk about the soundtrack in the 6th one, but 7 has probably the best soundtrack in the entire franchise. 8, not so much. This one has a strong soundtrack too. I like Idris Elba's, like, music that he has with this. I think it's good. I like this movie a lot. It's so solid. Ending the last 20 minutes is too much. Also, this is the movie where I think we found out about the fact that they're counting punches to make sure everyone has the same amount of punches and stuff. This movie really shows that with Idris Elba, and they're like, you take a punch and then I'll take a hit. Punch, hit, punch, hit. It's like, yeah. Don't love that. Again, some of the stunts aren't as practical as they should be. A lot of CGI in this one. This one just turns full-fledged superhero at points, and don't necessarily love that. I have a lot of fun with this one, though. This one also doesn't seem to take itself so serious the way 8 did, for example. 8 gets so freaking serious and boring at times. This one doesn't do that. This one's fun. So yeah, guys, I don't have a whole lot to say. Again, this spy stuff that the last few movies have been. I wish they would switch it up a little bit, make it something else. But I'm still having fun with it. This, for me, is a huge step up from 8. I really enjoy this one. Let's see. I am going to go 7 on this one. It, for me, is about the same as 6. But not quite as good as 6. I'm going to rank these by the end, though. So we'll see. But yeah, really good movie. I enjoy this one. And we're back to crap movies. Yeah, sorry, I don't like this movie. I've seen this one twice in the theater, and then this week. Both times, this movie's so forgettable, guys. It's so bland and mediocre. I can't believe Justin Lin directed this one. It very much feels like Justin Lin was bullied during this one by Vin Diesel, which is maybe why he didn't direct Fast 10, that he quit 5 days in or 10 days in or whatever it was. Yeah, this movie's not good. Okay, let's talk about this poster too for a second. What's with the rainbow? Why are we skittling this? Why are we tasting the rainbow with this? I hate the marketing campaign for this one. Again, spoiling everything. Hobbs and Shaw did that too. Fast 8 did that. I don't know why they're spoiling everything and giving us the entire movie. But these trailers also did that as well. And this one just goes too far at times, guys. It just gets so unrealistic and so bombastic and just... and the fact that we went to space. Let me tell you something, Hollywood. Just because we the people say something doesn't mean you should just put it in your movie. And if you're going to put it in your movie, fine. You can listen to the people. Please the people. Have a reason for it and make it something realistic. Don't bring again, the fact that Tokyo Drift is where it's at. In the timeline, that would mean that Sean's character is like 25, 26, 27, 28, and he's built a rocket. He went from not knowing how to drift to learning how to drift to building rockets? Are you flipping kidding me? I don't believe that for a second. That entire bit does not work. I hate that they brought Tokyo Drift people back. That entire section's stupid. Take out the space crap. It does not need to be in this movie. And again, it's just CGI BS. And I want the practicality of it. I thought I was going to sneeze. Nope, maybe not. Okay. Take out the CGI elements of this. Like, it's just too much at this point. The practical stuff, when it's there, is great. The magnets thing with the cars coming out of it, when it is practical, it does look cool. So there are some cool action sequences. There is so much just landing on cars, though, and it's a soft, cushy landing. No, it's not. Dom is literally, like, again, running through fire, landing on blacktop roads, skidding all over it, and not a single mark. He's fine. Dom is falling through rubble with concrete stuff falling down on top of him, and he's having these dream sequences in the water. And he's fine. No. This movie turns into a superhero movie, and I can't stand it. Again, do not listen to the people just because they say something. Just because we say bring Han back does not mean you need to bring Han back. And if you are going to bring Han back, have a reason. You didn't even really tell us. You just said, Mr. Nobody took care of it. Okay, but how? We see him in the car as it explodes. And then we just see him standing next to Mr. Nobody. Well, that was a cool trick. Okay, what's the trick? How did you do it? You can't just do that. It doesn't work like that. I can't stand that. I just can't stand it. After everything we've gone through and we just all of a sudden bring in a brother. And again, half this movie is the melodramatic crap of Dom and his brother. It's just Vin Diesel's trying to put this franchise on his shoulder, and no one cares that much. I mean, some people do, but I don't. it's just ridiculous. The flashbacks to when they're kids and teenagers, whatever, with their dad dying, I don't care. This movie is so forgettable. Charlize Theron is back. I forget kind of how she's working with Dom's brother, Jacob, I think that's it. I don't know. This one is so convoluted, so ridiculous, so dumb. And I love that we stopped calling Dom's child Brian and instead go Little B. Everyone's just calling him B or Little B or Little Brian. Like, why did we name him Brian? Brian didn't die in the movies, right? He's alive. So why do we call him Brian? How about we call him Paul, if you want to reference Paul Walker? I don't know, Walker. I don't know. I hate that they call him Brian, and now in this movie, and really in Fast 10, they just say Little B. Little B! Little B's in trouble. No. Guys, I do not like this movie at all. Technically, the direction and such like that is fine. This is not a horrible movie. This is not the worst movie of the franchise. But it's one of the worst. It's not good. I'll go 4 out of 10 on this one. I did a rant on this. I think maybe I actually gave it a 3 out of 10 when I originally reviewed this. Maybe I'm going to go 3 out of 10. No, I'm going to go 4. There's some interesting enough action sequences. The bit where they're going through the jungle. The whole Tarzan car thing is stupid. It doesn't work like that. It just, what the hell? What is it even? I don't even get how Dom knew that a thing was going to attach itself to the guy. Well, 4 out of 10. I'm being generous. I shouldn't be. Now let's talk about the new one, guys. So first of all, this movie starts with literally like 15 minutes from Fast 5. Just showing us how great Fast 5 is. And then, of course, it just kind of adds in Jason Momoa's character. And then it goes into... goes into the family bits with them being back in LA now and living their normal lives. And then Jason Momoa, who is a great villain. This is my favorite Fast and Furious villain. He's so good in this. He is this diva, girly. He might be bi, he might be gay, I don't know. But he is such an interesting, creepy, strange, weird villain, and I love him in this movie. This one kind of splits everyone up. You have Dom with Little B. You got Dom with Brie Larson's character. You got Michelle Rodriguez with Charlize Theron. You got these guys over here kind of just all together. Everyone's just kind of split up. People have been comparing this to Infinity War. I kind of agree. It's kind of like Infinity War. There's a bunch of little small things going on, and it's like Avengers kind of thing. Not at all by the end, but this is better than 8 and 9. I'll say that. It's not that much better than 8 and 9, though. What I give 8 and 9? 4s. This is like a 5. It's okay. It's way too long. Way too long. Why is Brie Larson's character even in this movie? It's because Kurt Russell didn't want to come back to do another one. He's not in this movie. Spoiler alert. That's what it kind of feels like. Also, there are so many pictures and like video clips in this movie from other movies. But like Dom is looking at these pictures and going, haha, I remember that time. But like it's moments in these movies where no one else was there taking pictures. I was just talking to someone like 10 minutes ago. Well, not 10 minutes ago. 10 minutes before I started this. About this. And she's like, well, it was God. God was taking pictures for us. Of course, jokingly. And I went, yeah, that's it. This movie has faith in family and God. Therefore, God was taking pictures of the other movies and sending them to Dominic Toretto so he could hang it up in his garage. This one is a little less ridiculous than the last one. It doesn't go to space, but it's so ridiculous. So many stupid things happen in this movie. Again, trailers have spoiled a lot. The dam, the fireball CGI bomb. And again, that's really what's bugging me about 8, 9, 10, and a little bit about Hobbs and Shaw. This is all CGI now at this point. And they're all superheroes. They're just doing things that you can't do. Something happens towards the end of this movie. No one dies in these. Everyone can be brought back to life because they just can. I don't believe anyone dies in these movies. I don't feel any kind of like tensity or any kind of pressure that anyone's going to die, because no one will die. Everyone will come back to life. Letty's died. Han has died. Dom should be dead about 157 times over. Why is Charlize Theron even in this movie at this point? Charlize Theron's just in this movie to be brought back into these movies. Why is she even in them anymore? She's just been taken out at Fast 8. And there's already signs in this movie that she's going to be joining the family. So no villain. I believe by the end of Fast 11, possibly Fast 12, because that's what Vin Diesel says is going to happen, that Jason Momoa's character is just going to become family anyway. Guys, I just kind of had enough with this franchise. Don't get me wrong, I'm going to go see Fast 11, Fast 12, opening weekend, but I've had enough. Kind of bored with these movies. Sick of the CGI superhero fight crap that's going on here. It's not a superhero movie. This started out as street racers, practical action. There's no practical nothing in this point anymore. It's just CGI. And I can't stand it. I've just kind of had enough. And this movie is just crazy over the top thing happens. Drama. Crazy over the top thing happens. Drama. Terrible dialogue. Yeah. I kind of already gave you my rating. I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10. It's just... We're over an hour here, guys, so I am going to rank these movies really fast, starting with the worst. Number 2 would be the worst for me. Too Fast and Furious. Very forgettable movie. Not a fan. Next up is 3. I know it's a controversial pick. I don't love Tokyo Drift. It just feels very dated to me. I don't like the characters in it. I don't like that he's a high schooler, but he's actually like 30 years old. Doesn't work for me. After that, I'm going to go 9. F9 is terrible. In fact, I call this movie 9 because it's F9. And when else do you use F? When you say you. F9, number 3, worst one. After that, I'm going to go Fast 8. Again, just very forgettable, very boring. Dom just being the main character, and he needs to be dramatic and a bad guy. After that, I'm going to go the original Fast and Furious. Another controversial pick, probably. While I do really like that movie, it hasn't aged. They're stealing DVD players. What's a DVD player at this point? Does anybody have a... I mean, I have a player, but... You know what I mean? It just hasn't aged the best, but it did set up the entire franchise. I do like that it feels like a big-budgeted movie, but it is technically kind of more mid-budget. Next up, I'm going to go Fast and Furious. I really like that movie. I know a lot of people don't, but I enjoy Fast and Furious, number 4. Yeah, right before the writer's strike, there's nothing perfect about that script or the story, but I enjoy it. After that, I will go Hobbs and Shaw. I like Hobbs and Shaw a lot. It's a lot of fun. I enjoyed watching it again this week. Again, too much CGI, way too long. The ending in Hawaii just doesn't need to be there. After that, I go Fast 6. Don't know what it is about that movie that I just don't love it, but I enjoy it for what it is. It's still fun. A lot of great action sequences, a lot of practical stuff, and I appreciate that. 7 then is my number 2 best in the franchise. I don't know. I think it's that Paul Walker stuff. it just, that movie hits me. It has such a great ending. If that movie had been the end of the franchise, I would have been very happy about that. And again, just some really cool action sequences. I love the skydiving cars. Maybe it's because I love skydiving. I don't know. And the number one, of course, guys, is Fast Five. It's just almost a perfect movie. Minor, like, acting moments, minor script moments. But it's a fun, awesome, over-the-top action heist movie. And I love it. So, guys, that is me talking about Fast Five. We've been talking for an hour. My throat is getting dry. I need water. Yeah, guys, it's a franchise that I thoroughly enjoyed, but also fallen off the train quite a few times for. But, I mean, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of these movies I would say are really good. The other 4, not so much. So I do really enjoy this franchise. I just don't love where it's been headed ever since Furious 7. I kind of think Furious 7 should have been the end. Did enjoy Hobbs and Shaw, though, which is a spinoff. So, yeah, that is what it is, guys. That is me talking about Fast and Furious. The next Codeman movies hopefully will be out within a week. It's been 2 weeks lately, guys, just because I'm doing my second job, walking dogs. I'm got a lot of appointments and such like that. I'm trying to take care of myself, trying to take care of Chester here. Lots of stuff going on. I just haven't been watching as many movies lately. I haven't been going to the theater as much lately. I'm going to go tonight, though. I'm going to go tomorrow. Yeah, so I'm going to have more movies to talk about real soon. I hope you guys will tune in for that. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see different. Do you like this new weird desk format that I have going on, even though it's a coffee table that extends? I just did that. Okay, I think I need to go, guys. I need to drink water. You guys have a good one. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. And, yeah, we'll see you next time on another episode of Codeman Movies. Have a good one, guys.